It's hard because there's this narrative out there that AI is this evil thing or it's unknown. And I think that actually comes from a lack of understanding. And that lack of understanding is bred from the fact that we provide an input and we get some kind of output. And we don't really know what's going on in between. And that naturally makes us, as humans, very uncomfortable when we can't actually see the mechanics or the inner workings. Like, there's no real mystery to how a car works. But AI is a little bit different simply because it's really difficult to open the hood and to see what's actually going on. With traditional applications, there's very definable human readable code that we can see when we ask the system to do something. So AI doesn't work that way, right? So AI's foundation is, from a subset of artificial intelligence called machine learning, in tandem with data science. And the data science and machine learning were essentially married. And what we did is, instead of saying, like, here's this block of code that's going to execute, we're now going to use probabilities and outcomes. Machine learning takes something and builds a heuristic around it. So, in other words, it's looking for causal relationships in the data. And it's really important because that's one of the foundational building blocks of AI as we know it. And when most people think of AI today, like, we're thinking language models, essentially. So it's a relationship of inputs and outputs. And what a language model tries to do is it tries to minimize the decay from one input and output to the next in line. And early on, it was very difficult to do that because you would have these magnifying effects. An early small variation in an output could have a catastrophic output at the other end. And so we needed these ways to figure out how we can do that in a safe manner. And as we moved from this idea of recursion, so like feeding one output back to the same input over and over and over again, we started building these things called attention patterns, right? And that's where language models really started to take off and become intelligent. Is that you could have decision number 100 go all the way back to decision number 12, and really understand where that came from. And so what happened is we built this complex and dense array of decisions that provides some kind of tangible result. Now, that is a 10,000 foot view of like how AI and language models work. Most people don't understand that, right? So when they're working with AI or when we're interfacing with language models or generative AI in any capacity, there's no real appreciation for what it's doing. And that's fine. Like, I'm not saying that we need to always, be thinking about that, but it is explainable. Right? And it is explainable through math and probability. We can, through calculus, figure out the likely outcome. It's just, I don't think that's very well known and very well expressed. Granted, as language models and AI are getting more sophisticated, it is getting harder and harder to do that because there's more and more of these relationships that go from A to B. Base models themselves aren't biased in the sense that, we think about it. Like you hear a lot of discourse out there that like AI hallucinations and AI psychosis are biased towards giving a desirable outcome. Now, while true, that's not the product of the base model itself or the foundation model itself. That's a basis of how the feedback mechanisms were provided to that application. And we really have to separate that out. So the core technology as AI versus how we're implementing it are actually two separate issues. And if we put on that mental model that it is two pieces, we start thinking about it differently, and we start interacting, we start talking about it differently. At work, at my day job, when I see customers essentially kind of lumping them together, That's the first thing I teach them, really, is like you have to separate out the capabilities of the foundation from what you want it to do. And it's sometimes it's in the terms of training, sometimes it's guardrails, any supporting documentation or anything along those lines. But basically, the ultimate outcome is the combination of those two things. It's essentially that capable but incoherent model and the feedback that it's getting both from within and from humans. And I think critically, when we look at AI as individuals, like we think about it kind of this one thing or this one entity or this one digital brain or aura. And I think that's false, because we all have this idea that our brain as this organ is this tangible thing that sits inside our skull, but it's separate from our personality, because our personality is the byproduct of all of our experiences. It's it's circumstantial to the environments that we live in. And AI is actually much the same way, where it's two parts to the whole. And when we start thinking about it in those terms, it really changes how we frame that and what we think about AI and how we can potentially use it. So I think that's the singular thing that most people get wrong about AI, is that it's not one thing. It's actually a collection of a few that once put together, get it to do a certain thing. So if you like this video, please give me a like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.